It's all my fault.
My lack of ability ended up hurting Shohei. Right after that, he gave me a harsh talking to in the dugout. Dalton Rushing is known for showing his fighting spirit on the field. But this time, Shohei Ohtani finally lost his temper. As tension reached a breaking point, what Ohtani did immediately afterward has now moved people all around the world.
Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe.
That's why Ohtani.
In the recent game against the Twins, Dalton Rushing's mistake became the biggest turning point of the game. It was a game that truly showed how Shohei's frustration suddenly surfaced. The game changed in the second inning, with the Dodgers leading by 1 run. Ohtani threw a blazing pitch at over 101 miles per hour, the fastest of his major league career, but catcher Rushing failed to catch it, allowing the tying run to score in an instant. At that moment, Ohtani looked up toward the sky, and a discussion took place on the mound involving the coach and Rushing. Ohtani's expression at that moment left such a strong impression that fans online began saying, "Shohei is seriously furious." Then, moments later, when Rushing appeared ready not to use the ABS challenge, Ohtani insisted and went ahead with the challenge. The call was overturned to a strike, and cameras caught Rushing falling silent, with a tense look on his face. Then, around the 4th inning, Ohtani's pitching reached another level. He started firing fastballs over 100 miles per hour, the fastest pitches he has thrown this season, prompting fans online to say, "Ohtani is definitely mad." Others commented, "I haven't seen Ohtani like this in a long time." At the plate, Ohtani delivered an RBI hit in the 3rd inning to spark the comeback. The Dodgers scored 3 runs in that inning to take the lead and went on to win the game 4-3. Ohtani earned his 8th win of the season, allowing 3 runs over 6 innings while striking out 8. It was also his first victory since the birth of his 2nd child. After the game, Dodgers catcher Dalton Rushing appeared in the locker room interview area and answered questions from reporters.
Today's game had so many dramatic moments. What were you and Shohei talking about on the mound?
To be honest, Shohei was pretty hard on me. This game was completely my fault. In the 2nd inning, after the bases were loaded with a hit, my hands were soaked with sweat, and the ball slipped. I never imagined I'd let it get past me like that. I later found out it was a 4-seamer over 101 miles per hour, and I felt even worse. I ended up fumbling the fastest pitch Shohei has ever thrown in the major leagues. Right after that, Shohei came over and said something to you on the mound. He told me, "Stay focused." He said it clearly in English. Today was the first time Shohei has ever gotten angry with me. The way he spoke was completely different from usual. The look in his eyes scared me. It really scared me, but I deserved it. There was nothing I could say. That was completely my mistake.
And then there was that moment with the ABS challenge.
From my angle, I was sure it was a ball. It was only the 2nd inning, so I figured there was no need to use our challenge that early. But Shohei was completely confident. He said, "No, we're challenging it." The result came back as a strike. He had judged that borderline pitch perfectly. Honestly, I was like, seriously? The fact that he could throw a pitch like that and still know exactly where it crossed the zone, the only way I can describe it is that he's a baseball god. His baseball IQ is just on another level in every way. I'm doing everything I can just to keep up with him.
Looking back, what was it like catching Shohei's pitches today?
They're on a completely different level. His 4-seam fastball averages over 99 miles per hour, and then he has a sinker, splitter, and sweeper. Every one of them is a weapon. When a hitter has to deal with that many pitches at that kind of velocity, it's almost impossible to hit. And today, I was the one catching all of that behind the plate. That's why the responsibility I carried was enormous.
You were seen talking with manager Roberts and Freddie Freeman in the dugout, and the cameras caught that moment too.
That was honestly embarrassing. I never imagined the whole country would see a grown man sitting in the dugout with his head in his hands. Freddie told me, "Shohei was really mad, so you'd better apologize to him." Then he smiled and said, "But once it's over, forget about it. We'll just go out there and win together." Manager Roberts was right there too. He told me, "You're going to be okay." I really think the atmosphere on this team is something special.
And we heard that Shohei himself spoke to you afterward.
I was about to go apologize to Shohei, but he came over to me first. I was still beating myself up because I felt like I still hadn't filled Will Smith's shoes. Then Shohei quietly sat down next to me and said, "I know you want to apologize. But we won today because of everyone on this team, including you. I wasn't upset with you. I was frustrated with myself for not being perfect, and I ended up taking it out on you. Next time, let's throw a shutout together." I started tearing up right there in the middle of the game, and I just sat there with my head in my hands. I'll never forget those words. After I felt like I had ruined everything, the kindness Shohei showed me hit me harder than anything else. Later, Freddie Freeman also appeared in the interview area and answered questions from reporters.
Today was obviously a very tough game for Dalton Rushing. How did you see it?
First of all, Shohei has already forgiven him, and we won the game together as a team, so I hope people won't be too hard on Dalton. Honestly, it was the first time I'd ever seen that look on Dalton's face during a game. He was so devastated that as a teammate, there was no way I could just leave him alone.
What did you say to him?
I told him that Shohei really was upset, so the first thing he needed to do was apologize. But I also told him something else. Once you've apologized, don't keep dwelling on it.
What do you think about the criticism Dalton has been getting from fans?
I understand where it's coming from. People love Shohei, so whenever it looks like someone is holding him back, they're naturally going to react. But I'll say this clearly. Expecting Dalton to replace Will Smith isn't realistic. Will Smith is one of the best catchers in all of Major League Baseball. Replacing someone like him isn't something that can be done that easily. This season, Dalton has caught Shohei only 3 times. 3 games simply aren't enough to learn Shohei's pitching patterns, his rhythm, and his timing. Those are things you have to learn through experience. Even Will Smith didn't become this good at bringing out the best in Shohei overnight. It took dozens of games together to build that kind of trust and understanding.
So do you still have high expectations for Dalton?
Of course I do. I can see how hard he's trying. Even today, I could tell he was giving it everything he had. Yes, he made mistakes, but I also know he was doing everything he could to live up to Shohei's expectations. So I'm going to keep supporting him. Young players make mistakes, they learn from them, and they come back stronger. To me, that's what being a team is all about. Later, manager Dave Roberts also appeared in the interview area and answered questions from reporters.
Today was a difficult game for Dalton Rushing. What did you say to him in the dugout?
When I saw him sitting there with his head in his hands, the first thing I did was sit down beside him. Before saying anything, I felt it was more important just to be there for him. Dalton was genuinely devastated. He kept saying over and over, "I let Shohei down." When someone is already blaming himself that much, there's no reason to pile on.
What do you think about the criticism Dalton has been receiving from the fans?
I understand how the fans feel. When Shohei is on the mound, it's only natural that people become more emotional about every play. Shohei is a pitcher the whole world is watching now. Every single pitch he throws matters. But I'd like people to imagine, even for just a moment, what it feels like to stand behind the plate, catching for one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. You're catching in a game where Shohei's performance is on the line. That's an incredible amount of pressure. That's an enormous amount of pressure. It is. And because we're professionals, we can't make excuses. I understand that too.
Finally, do you have a message for the fans?
I just ask that you give Dalton a little more patience. He hasn't given up, and he's working as hard as he can every single day. I know today's disappointment will make him stronger. On this team, no one gives up on a teammate. I'd be grateful if our fans would support him with that same spirit. We won the game today in the end, and I believe that victory belonged to every single person on this team, including Dalton.
What did you think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us as we continue to follow Shohei Ohtani's incredible journey. See you in the next one.